we are talking about a constitutional crisis right now, and this president is violating the Constitution in a number of different respects. Immediately when he took office, and by the way, we're only talking about a couple weeks now, he's trying to get rid of birthright citizenship, trying to terrorize new Americans and immigrants. And just the other day, I received a letter on my desk saying that approximately $54 million worth of funding that goes towards really critical city service was being cut. And let me juxtapose what's happening in this letter versus what normally happens when a new administration takes office. We have seen shifts between presidents. We have seen shifts between a Democratic administration and a Republican administration. We've even seen changes, and I've been in office for a previous Trump administration. This is something entirely different, even from when Trump was in office the first time. Previously, sure, maybe some programs will be changed in a way that we don't exactly like. Yes, at times there are some funding sources that are reallocated to a slightly different division, but for the same general topic area. That happens, you can expect that. But what this letter that I received from the Office of Management and Budget said is that we're stopping all of it. Pencils down. We're done with critical services to help people that are experiencing homelessness. We're done with important monies for affordable housing. We're done with workforce development. We're done with emergency management. We're even taking away important resources that can go for protecting people when a bomb is threatened. I mean, come on. When you are talking about getting rid of the money to protect people from when a bomb is placed, this is getting kind of ridiculous. Only to be changed a couple of days later by kind of, maybe sort of rescinding some of the actions that he just took place. Here's the bottom line. These actions are being taken to sow chaos in our country. They are being taken to sow chaos in our cities. We can't succumb to that chaos, and we can't succumb to fear. It's on all of us to remain steady and stable. It's on all of us to make sure that we're adhering to these overarching constitutional principles, which, by the way, we know are on our side. Look, the city's got to be the government that doesn't shut down. We have to be the government that continues to provide these services no matter what. And let me assure every constituent out there in Minneapolis, we're going to. That being said, what's happening right now makes it a whole lot harder. It causes uncertainty where we should have a full understanding of what's before us. And Chief O'Hara, in just a few minutes, is going to give a rundown of what this means for basic safety services as well. It's problematic, and as the Congresswoman said, we all should be speaking up against it. This should not be a Democrat or Republican issue.
Obviously, the people of Minneapolis have been through a lot over the last 5 years, and our community has been dealing with unacceptably high levels of crime and violence at a time that the police department has been significantly depleted. And while I do believe that we have now turned a corner, and we have made significant progress reducing crime while we're restoring trust with our residents and rebuilding the police force, people need to know that this success is very fragile. We depend very greatly on our partnerships, and that includes both community-based organizations that we work with, as well as law enforcement partners, including federal law enforcement. Our progress would not be possible without the dedication and the resilience of the heroic officers who stayed here and endured very real challenges over the last few years. But it also would not be possible without those partnerships, particularly with the federal government. And that includes the level of federal grant funding that we receive. Federal support has been instrumental in helping to drive some of the progress that we've had. The federal grant funding that we receive directly impacts public safety in this city. It impacts violence reduction as well as community trust rebuilding efforts. The critical funds support programs that reduce crime, rebuild the ranks of the department, and restore pride in this profession. These grant funds supplement not only the important programs that we provide, but in some cases, the very people that are necessary to implement them. Just to highlight some of the federal grants that we receive so that the community is aware, one is called HIDA. It's the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. That's money to help target and dismantle drug trafficking and money laundering organizations, which are often connected to violence in the city. One regards the bomb disposal grant. It provides funding for specialized equipment and X-ray that's necessary for bomb detection and removal, and it is absolutely critical in a city like Minneapolis, where we have so much critical infrastructure and so many important venues that are potentially targets. We have the Edwin Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, the JAG grant, which can be used very broadly for violence reduction and law enforcement efforts, whether it's hate crime or community-based violence intervention programs. We have the COPS Community Policing Development Awards, which aids in officer recruitment and workforce diversification, and also has been funding the city's 30 by 30 initiative to increase the representation of women as police officers. We have the Department of Transportation's Towards Zero Death program, which helps us target and reduce serious injuries and fatalities on our roadways. The PEACE, Pathways Encouraging Active Community Engagement program, which helps support internships with young people that has been helpful to try and rebuild the police force. So these are just a few of the many federal programs that are absolutely essential to our residents. And the impact of these funds is just undeniable. We are confident that the purposes and outcomes of these programs could withstand any scrutiny. And so we urge the federal government to continue this funding without interruption, to honor the commitments that have been made to the people of this city and this police department as we continue to try and move forward. I believe the MPD is on a path of making meaningful transformation, and we are absolutely committed to continuing that work.